Board meeting. My name is Ernest Carvalho, and I am the chair for Neighborhood Board 13. We'll go ahead and start introducing ourselves by starting with Board Member Lai.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, everyone, for coming and joining us in person tonight and online. I'm Kevin Lai.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Bob Armstrong.
Hello, Ross Isokane.
Good evening, Chula Schubert Kwok.
Sean Fitzsimmons. Nice to meet you.
All right, once again, thank you. Go ahead.
Camellia, neighborhood assistant.
All right, so we got a full agenda today, so we're going to keep it within the times that are stated on this. So let's go ahead and start with concern number 2, public safety report. We'll start off with the Honolulu Fire Department, please.
Okay. Once again, my name is Firefighter 3 Haramni Pali. I'm at Station 1 on Engine 1. For this neighborhood report, we had some inquiries. So I wanted to address some previous inquiries regarding the status of Kamali'i Mini Park. So the status of Kamali'i Mini Park remains the same, currently under HFD's jurisdiction and is in the process of being relinquished. The HFD is not exactly sure which city department will take custodianship or if it will be disposed of. Signs have been posted to help address the community concerns. So for the statistics in the month of July 2024 regarding fires, we have 2 structure fires, 0 wildland fires, 1 nuisance fire, 0 cooking fires, and 7 activated alarms. For other emergencies, we have 86 medical emergencies, 5 motor vehicle collisions and crashes. And a nuisance fire is regarded as a rubbish fire outside of a structure or a vehicle. So this month's safety tip is regarding back to school fire safety. Educating students on what they can do to stay safe in the school year is important and often overlooked. College students living away from home should take a few minutes to ensure they are living in a fire safe environment. Do not overload the outlets. Keep lamps, light fixtures, and light bulbs away from anything that can burn. Never use an extension cord with large appliances like a refrigerator. Cook only where it is allowed. Keep the cooking area clean and free of anything that can burn. If a fire starts in a microwave, keep the door closed and unplug the unit. If a disaster happens, know who to call and where to meet is an important part of emergency planning for you and your family. Pick one main contact locally and one contact out of town who may be easier to reach during a disaster. And that concludes the Honolulu Fire Department's report.
All right. Does anyone in our audience have any questions for our fire department? Anyone online? See none. Board Member Kevin Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for coming tonight, sir. And for the past 5 weeks, I have been trying to figure out the provenance of Kamali'i Mini Park. Captain Bates was here on the 2nd of April this year, and he suggested that the property had been turned over. But it's just curious to me if that was going to happen, if you have any idea why the delays have occurred. And so I've since sent the investigation on to DPR to see if they have received the property by chance. But we really appreciate trying to find out who will take ownership so that we can then direct how to redevelop that area. Thank you.
Yeah, so as I stated earlier, HFC's jurisdiction is to be able to relinquish the park, and it is currently unknown who would be able to take over. But the Honolulu Fire Department was able to post some signs. As far as who is going to take over, we do not know at this point.
All right, thank you very much. Any other board members? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month. Thanks for everything. And anyone that wants to report, these reports are on our Google Drive, right? under Neighborhood Board 13. Thank you. I've uploaded your reports. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, next we have the Honolulu Police Department. Lieutenant Segusia, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, board members, and everyone in attendance. Lieutenant Segusia from the Honolulu Police Department, District 1, Community Area Responsibility. I know you guys time is precious, so I'm going to get right into the stats. So motor vehicle thefts for the month of July were 6. From the previous month, it was 8. Burglaries were down. There were 5. From the previous month, there were 9. Thefts were 24. Previous month, 23. UMVs or car break-ins were 6. Previous month was 8. Assaults were 8. Previous month was 10. Sex assaults were 1. Previous month was 2. No graffiti cases for both months. Drug offenses, there were 10 related. Past month was 4. Total calls for service for your particular area was 2,288 compared to the previous month of 1,996. So I just wanted to touch bases, in support of our Asian community. There's going to be a Korean festival this August 3rd, this coming Saturday. It's going to be at Kaka'ako Mauka Garden Park grounds in the Kaka'ako area. Start time is 10 o'clock, and it will be done at 6 in the afternoon. And starting on Monday, August 5th, is the back to school rush. Yeah, so we're just advising our community members to leave early to avoid major traffic tie-ups and expect heavier traffic during peak traffic times, during the entire month of August. With that being said, the safety tip for the month of August is going to be traffic and pedestrian safety. Drivers are going to be requested to slow down, check your blind spots twice. Leave early to avoid rushing. And for pedestrians, we're going to ask our community members to make sure you make eye contact with drivers when crossing the street. Have your head on a swivel as you're crossing, and then be predictable. Other than that, I'm going to yield back the rest of my time and take any questions from the board members and public attendees.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant Segusia. Anyone in our audience have any questions for Lieutenant Segusia? Hearing none, seeing none. Anyone online? Hearing none, seeing none. Go ahead, Board Member Lai.
Thank you, Chair. Lieutenant, we may not get a chance to mention this during Citizen Patrol later on, but while you're here, we had noticed that the cameras are sometimes installed at intersections downtown where there's little to no light from street lamps. Do you know if the new security system cameras, are they able to function in suboptimal to sometimes no light? Just want to make sure that the infrastructure is in place to make the cameras maximally helpful. Thank you.
You're on mute.
Yeah,
Lieutenant,
that's a very good question. So the cameras are very, very good. They're very high definition. In regards to the better lighting, obviously with any type of better lighting, it's going to be even much better. But they're pretty sufficient. I've checked the substation and checked the cameras. They're all operational at this point in time. All of the ones that are installed anyway, and they look pretty good. So I'll keep you guys abreast on any issues.
all right, thank you very much. Any other board members? We're going to go start on all the way in the end with Board Member Isakani, and then followed by Board Member Schubert Kwok.
Hey, Lieutenant. I just wanted to just do a quick recap. I was looking at the annual report that was produced recently. So violent crime statistics, just looking at it, I know 2023 was a really low year, so that was great. But one thing to note is that for our district, for our beats, we're a little bit of an outlier in terms of the highest incident rate. Now, I was also looking at the online crime dashboard for the months in 2024. So looks like we're trending a little bit higher island-wide for violent crime. But the really good news is that our beats are actually lower in 2023. So I kind of just want to commend you all on what you're doing for the beats in our district and ask, what do you attribute that to? And what can you do to continue that positive momentum?
Yeah, that's a great question also, Member Sakani. So in regards to that, we're going to be attributing to the Chinatown projects and the Chinatown task force. We've been seeing a lot of statistical information in regards to what we've been bringing in. But the flip side to that coin is that other neighborhoods, these people tend to move to other neighborhoods, and then the crime starts to, get elevated in those particular areas. But We'll attack it one beat at a time. In regards to the Chinatown task force, it's still going on. We're getting funding for it thanks to you folks. So hopefully it'll keep that trend to continue to go down.
All right, thank you. Board Member Schubert Kwok, please.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant. Where's he? I just wanted to convey the community's gratitude for you guys coming out for when Kekaliki Mall opens, so that you folks, were out there and forced to help clear the area so people can safely congregate and open the mall with DTS Chief Roger Morton, and then also on the second day, the 20th, when CBCA opened the Eyes of the Dragon and also the Imbued Spirit, so that it can then serve the Chinatown community. As I want to thank you for that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other board members? Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you, Lieutenant Segusio. Wait, before you leave, I do have one thing to say. Is there any way we can get more assistance on King Street on Riverside? We have a lot of homeless sleeping in front of those businesses and they're not going nowhere and nothing seems to be done. We do understand that the law states that they shouldn't even be there. Yep, and there's another problem we do have, and I've already addressed it with District 5, Khalid Plummer. And so I'll go ahead and send you out what I sent to them, okay? All right,
Absolutely, sir. I'll go and I'd send some patrol units to address that location.
all right, thank you, appreciate it, thank you. All right,
Always.
thank you, okay. See you next month, thank you very much. All right, so we're going to head and move on to item number 3, board business, unfinished business. We have the election of treasurer to serve from present until June 30th, 2025. Do we have any nominations, please? Go ahead. Board
Chair, thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Kevin Lai for
All right.
treasurer.
All right, any other nominations?
Nominate Laurie.
All right, so we have both nominations for Kevin Lai and for Laurie. Laurie, do you accept?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Kevin, do you accept?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to have a roll call, please, and you must say their name, please. Thank you.
All right, so you can just call out the name, Lai or what's her name? McCarney, Armstrong,
Lie.
Fitzsimmons,
McCarney.
Isokane,
McCarney.
Lai,
Lie.
McCarney,
McCarney,
McDonald,
Lai,
Schubert Kwok,
Connie.
Thompson, not here. And then Chair Carvalho.
McCarney.
Okay, 3 votes for Lai, 5 votes for McCarney. So McCarney is the secretary.
Thank you, Laurie. We
Point of order,
appreciate you
that's
taking on the
the
job. Thank you.
Treasurer.
Thank you.
The treasurer, I mean, yeah, my fault, thank you, treasurer. All right, now moving on, finish of adoption rules for reasonable administrative and oral testimony. Mr. Sakani, did you want to read the rules? Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Looking at the rules that are proposed, let's see. Other notes, the board may vote upon any listed agenda item. Items not listed cannot be voted upon unless allowed under HRS 92, aka Sunshine Law. Matters raised during public concerns cannot be voted upon, but may be discussed by the board at the discretion of the presiding officer. Members of the board may not raise a matter not listed on the agenda during public concerns, but may request inclusion of an item on the agenda in advance of the meeting. Public testimony received in advance of the meeting may also be read aloud during the listed agenda item or public concerns at the discretion of the chair.
So those are, so do we have a motion to support?
I support.
Support.
Lori support, Shulon was second. Do we have any discussions on this? Go ahead, Board Member Lai.
Thank you, Chair. Just wondering, what is the provenance for this change? I think that the minutes request that we did adopt at least some oral testimony rules under the guise of what we did last year. What's new? And then secondarily, I think that at least some of the provisos may actually be limiting to members as citizens. And I wonder if that's been well thought out or if this is boilerplate language that's been borrowed from elsewhere.
So, really quick, and are you talking about like with public concerns and all that? Because you said,
At least I believe that was part of it. I mean, it'd be ideal if we could actually see on screen or circulate what's being proposed so that we could review it. I would wonder if that's a possibility.
yeah, so before we go any further, I just want to read you a letter that I received from OIP, okay? Because I think you brought up something that's very important. Dear Mr. Carvalho, the following is assuming that you're referring to a period set aside for public comment on items not on the agenda. They then went on to say, if they're incorrect, please let them know, but the basis on what is said on the agenda. Under section 92-81 HRS, neighborhood boards are allowed to include a public input, public concerns item on the agenda for a meeting to receive public input on matters not specifically listed on the agenda. Board members are allowed to discuss matters raised as part of the public input agenda item, provided that the board does not make decisions relating to matters until a later meeting where the matter is properly listed on the agenda. Your understanding is correct that the intention of section 92-81 HRS is to allow the public to raise issues that were not on the agenda, not to allow neighborhood board members to talk about matters that are not on the agenda. Board members are not members of the public and cannot themselves raise matters that are not listed on the agenda. Board members can only discuss matters that are listed on the agenda or that a non-board member brings up as part of a public input item. In general, if a board member wishes to speak about a topic, then the board can list that topic on the agenda. And I'll pass this around for you folks to see from OIP. Okay. So basically, board members are not considered part of the public during the board meeting. There are elected officials and they're not part of the public and they cannot speak under public concerns. Go ahead, board member Isipani.
Chair, I would suggest that we take the matter to a vote.
I have a question. Is there a section in the agenda? I'm not seeing it just yet, but I believe it might be board member concerns where board members are allowed to bring up items that are not on the agenda.
Okay, so we got rid of that because of all the infighting, right? So bottom line, and you can attest this to, you can ask Mr. Armstrong on this one and he'll back me up on this one. If you folks have something that you want to put up on the agenda, come to me, send me a message and I'll put it on the agenda. I'm not going to keep anything that you ask not to be put on the agenda. I will put it on the agenda, but you guys got to ask me. Remember, the agenda is at the discretion of the chair. So ask me, I will not discriminate. I will put it on the agenda. Go ahead.
So just a quick follow-up, if I understand this correctly, then there is no way for a board member to address any issue unless it's on the agenda.
That is correct. And this is what IOP is saying also. All right, go ahead, Mr. Lai, and that'll be the last one, and then we'll go to our vote.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to request the balance of the correspondence that leads to the letter that you circulated here, because I just would want to know what the impetus was, what the area that Mr. Shimizu, OIP attorney, refers to in reply to you, just so we can get a better idea of what may have led to this. I mean,
I'm going to email it to you.
well, I appreciate that greatly, but I don't think that the board is well informed enough to vote on this matter tonight. I would respectfully ask that we.
Regardless, we're going to follow OIP rules. no board member will be able to speak on the public concerns regardless, because it's not, we're not voting on public concerns. Public concerns is set. We are not allowed to vote on it. It says it straight. It is, and it gives you the section that you can look under, yeah? Go ahead, board member. Yusuka.
Chair, I feel informed adequately. I feel like we can take it to a vote, and because I know we have a lot on the agenda.
The call for a vote is on the floor. We're going to go ahead and do a vote.
Okay, the motion is to adopt the oral testimony rules as written from OIP. Armstrong,
I like democracy. I vote no.
Fitzsimmons,
Aye.
Isokane,
Aye.
Lai,
Abstain.
McCartney,
Aye.
McDonald,
Nay.
Schubert Quack,
Aye.
Thompson, not here. Chair Carvalho.
Aye.
All right, 5 votes were aye, 2 noes, 1 abstention. The motion is adopted.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm going to still send you the email. All right, so next, we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 4, presentations. First up, we have Hawaiian Electric. It's a follow-up. So this is not a grilling session, this is a follow-up by Mr. Brendan Bailey from Hawaiian Electric. Thank you for showing up. Again, we do appreciate it.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me back. What I just passed out, that was a presentation that we gave to the city council last week. I'm going to cover some of it, not all of it, but I did want you guys to have it. This is what we presented to the city council, so I thought it would be useful for you as well. Okay, updates. So we just submitted an update to our regulator, the Public Utilities Commission, regarding the root cause analysis that is still underway for the June 17th outage. We let them know that we're projecting mid-August to have that finalized and report turned into the Public Utilities Commission. If you're interested, I can give you the docket number so you can keep track. It's 2024-06-28. It will be filed in that docket. It will be a public docket available to whoever wants to see it. As you know, the claims process, I think you asked me last time to give you an update on the number of claims that were submitted. I have that update for you guys here. We received a total of 410 claims. Of those, 271 were commercial businesses, and the balance of 139 were residential. We are working closely with each of those claims. They're being processed separately. We have informed all of the claimants that if they need more time to submit their documentation, we are giving that to them. So if they have issues with gathering backup evidence for their lost claims, we are giving them that time. We're working very closely with them to make sure that they have the ability to support their claims. Okay, so I did want to update you as far as what we've been doing in the interim over the past month following the outages. So I have a list of things that I put together that I thought you guys would be interested in that we're doing for the downtown area in the form of a support package. So with respect to customers, we have placed a moratorium on all disconnections for non-payment through the end of January 2025. Or sorry, mid-January 2025, January 15th. We are waiving any late payment fees that are incurred from the date of the outage through January. We are offering extended payment plans for anybody that needs assistance in making their bill payments. We have committed and donated $25,000 to the Chinese Chamber of Commerce and the Chinatown Improvement District for support of the downtown community. If you subscribe to any of our social media accounts, you'll see that we've been, especially immediately following the outages, we were heavily promoting the downtown businesses, trying to drive traffic back to those businesses downtown. And we have 150,000 customers, not customers, but followers on our social media accounts. So we wanted to do that for the downtown area as well. And then we're also going to be issuing courtesy payments of $500 for each claimant for commercial customers and $50 for residential customers. This is separate and apart from those that have submitted claims. It's not contingent on the claim process. So regardless of the outcome of the liability analysis, those payments of $500 or $50 for residential will be made to customers that submitted claims, regardless of the outcome of the investigation. Any questions so far? I do have one more update. Yeah, if you look in your materials, I know this is a point that was asked of me last time that I wanted to raise as far as the work that we've done in downtown area and what we have planned. So this is fairly high level, but if you start on page 5 of the document, you'll see the things that we have planned starting from 2018 for the next decade, as far as what we're going to be doing in the downtown area to shore up the resiliency of the area and to beef up our infrastructure to hopefully prevent what happened in June. And with that, any questions?
All right, so before we go ahead and go to the board, we're going to first start off with anyone in our audience here. Do you have any questions? All right, seeing none, then we're going to go ahead next to anyone online. Do you have any questions that is not a board member? All right, I don't believe I see any. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start with the board members. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start off with our vice chair, Sean Fitzsimmons, please.
Hey, Brendan, thanks for coming back.
Yeah.
I know you were in the hot seat last time, so I appreciate it. In looking through your handout, the first thing I noticed was on slide 2. This is all in conjunction with Tariff Rule 16, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to slide 2, bullet point 3, right? You guys say that the underground grid was completed in 1939 and expanded and upgraded, right, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, period, right? So that indicates to me, right, there's no upgrade since the 80s, correct?
That's not correct.
It's not correct because I see
Those are the major upgrades.
okay, because then in slide 5, right, it talks about what you guys done from 2018 to 2024. The reason why I'll build up to this, but it's important. What specifically was done before the outage in 2024? Because it seems like the only thing that's dated on this slide is the tops of 7 manholes being replaced. So what specifically was done before the outages? That's my first question, I guess.
Yeah, so let me take that. So if you look at page 5, all of those things that are listed, all those bullet points, like bullet point number 2, 28 network transformers and 27 network protectors have been replaced. All of those bullet points, the work that are included within those bullet points, were the work that were done prior to the outage in June. But this is, like I said, this is the major work. This doesn't include all the work that's been done downtown as far as maintenance. And I would just say this, if you're looking for specifics regarding the equipment that actually failed, the root cause analysis will address that. So I would ask that when the root cause analysis comes out, take a look at that. That should include what the investigator is determining was the cause of what happened in June.
All right, before we go any further, just so the board knows, we are going to allow you folks to do follow-ups immediately after your questions, to be fair to everybody, because I know everybody has a few things to say, okay?
Yeah, no, sorry, because the reason why it's important, because Tariff Rule 16 kind of absolves HECO from providing any sort of claims if, it's not within the company's control through exercise of reasonable diligence and care, i.e. the lack of maintenance, right? So that's important to know.
Yep.
So with respect to the 410 total claims that you received, what percentage of claims were actually accepted by HECO?
So the process is ongoing. We're not going to make any determination with respect to individual claims until the investigation is complete. So none of those determinations have been made for any of the 410.
There's no denials that have been
No.
given yet. Okay.
They're all
Okay.
pending.
All right. Thank you. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we'll go ahead and move to Board Member Live, followed by Mr. Board Member McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Bailey, just to clarify on slide 13, that the period for submission of claims, I guess, is over, and the 5,500 claims are only for those who filed within the stated deadline.
The 410 claims.
The 50 and 500, $50 residential,
Yes.
500 commercial,
The courtesy payments will be given to anybody that submitted a claim.
had submitted by whatever the deadline was
Yes.
a month after.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Did you have a follow-up, Board Member Live?
I yield back the remainder of my 1 minute.
Go ahead, Board Member Kevin McDonald, then we'll follow by Super Kwok.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Brandon, for being here. Appreciate you. I have two questions. The first is I received a notice, and my business also received a notice earlier in the week about possible brownouts going through some of the neighborhoods in Hawaii due to an underground tunnel and some damage that was done to it that needs to be repaired. I received the notice earlier in the week. I'm wondering if we are through that and we can breathe a little or rest assured that we are through that patch, or should we still be expecting possible brownouts? And my second question is a little unrelated. I don't necessarily expect you to answer it now, but I'm still, as I have been for some time, confused as to why businesses pay a higher rate per kilowatt hour than residences do. Businesses don't get a higher quality of electricity. There's nothing special or different about a business's electricity that they use than there is to a resident. So how come businesses are charged more? And particularly, I recently discovered that businesses, a residence is charged less than $10, around $5 and change, to reconnect their electricity if their bill is not paid and service has to be interrupted. Businesses, on the other hand, pay $45 to have their service restored if it's been interrupted due to non-payment. I know that many of the businesses that I speak to and have dealt with now have the digital meters so that the service can be restored with a few keystrokes from the office and nobody has to go down. There doesn't have to be a repair person or somebody dispatched to turn that service back on again. It can be done with a few keystrokes from the office. So why is it that these things, particularly having service restored, cost businesses more than residents?
Okay, that was a long one. Let me try to remember what the first one was. So the first one was brownouts. So are you referring to the rolling blackout notices that just went out yesterday?
Yes.
Okay,
It was yesterday.
let me start with yesterday. So there was a potential for rolling outages. Fortunately, we didn't have to do that. What happened was one of our independent power producers, I think I covered this last time. So a lot of people don't know that a large percentage of our generation is actually not ours. We don't operate it, we don't control it, we don't own it. We have independent power producers that generate electricity and we buy their electricity from them. Our largest IPP on Oahu, they had a catastrophic failure of one of their water pipes that serve as a cooling system for their generators, and they went out of service. That was 280 megawatts. That put us in a critical position where we were skirting the line where we wouldn't have enough generation to meet the normal demand. So we put out, in abundance of caution, we put out a notice to people saying, hey, look, we might have rolling outages. We're going to do everything we can to avoid it, but if so, then this is what's going to happen. We'd roll it for 30 minutes for each area, and then everybody would take turns. Luckily, we didn't have to do that. So that's what happened. Yeah, so right now we're in a better position. We brought up some of our own backup generating units. They actually take like a day or two to get up and running because there are a lot of things that have to be done to make that happen. But right now we're in better shape.
All right, thank you. Super Clark, before, Board Member Super Clark, before I go to you, before I go to you, I've made a mistake. It is actually Board Member Armstrong's turn. Board Member
He had-
Armstrong, then you go.
He had a part two.
Oh, okay. Finish part two.
Okay, I'm not the pricing expert. And I'd be happy to handle this, offline if you wanted to. But in general, the things that we have to do as a utility to serve a business are different than a residential customer. And that has largely to do with the demand. It's called the demand that we have to prepare for. So for larger businesses, there's a lot more demand that we have to make sure that we can provide in relation to their service. So a residential customer might use, say, 200 kilowatts, just as an example. That's just a random number. But, a commercial customer could be 5-10 times that amount. So we actually have to have that much more generation capability to provide service to the commercial account. And that means we have to actually have generation that would provide that, and that costs money.
If I may follow up,
You asked about 2 questions? Go ahead, one more. And just, Mr. McDonald, keep it under 1 minute, please.
just very quickly, if the business is using 5 to 10 times the amount that the residence is using, isn't their bill already 5 to 10 times what the residence is paying?
Yeah, not necessarily. So the fixed costs that are baked into a kilowatt hour for a residential customer are not equal to a commercial customer. But maybe pricing is complicated. So maybe if we can handle this offline, I can do the research, give you something in writing, and that would probably help explain it better than I'm doing right now. I'm not doing it justice.
All right, thank you, appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Mr. Bob Armstrong, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be very quick. And thank you, Mr. Bailey, for coming second month in a row. I really appreciate that. And a corporate citizen of our island that instead of runs, takes this crisis head on. And you've had a bad 60 days for sure.
It's been rough.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's been rough. I'm not going to add to that because I know equipment is old. But my question is, I think, one that looks forward, and that is your company planning or has, since this accident, asked the PUCO for a rate increase?
We have not. And again, that's another complicated question. When it comes to rates, we currently work under a framework where we're paid based on performance. That has a period of time. It was implemented 3 or 4 years ago. It's up for review, I think, next year, where the PUC may be looking at that again. We may go in the future and ask for a rate increase, but we have not done so. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have Board Member Schubert Kwok. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong, for your question.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Bailey, thank you so much for coming. I'm very happy to hear that PECO donated $20,000 to Chinese Chamber of Commerce and $5,000 to Chinatown Improvement District. But I'd like to know what are the guidelines for them to disperse these funds? Under what criteria that's different from the claims that they're filing? So we like to know.
Yeah, so I don't have the details of that. I know Jim Kelly, who's leading that effort for us, is working with the chair for the Chinese Chamber of Commerce to work out what that looks like as far as the guidelines. I know you're a member of the chamber. Yeah, if you can't get it from your chair, then I can follow up and get that information.
like that.
I think they're working on that. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't have that information.
Yeah,
now.
because I think a lot of people are not members of the Chamber of Commerce because of the expensive membership to join. So I think the people on the street would like to know, and get it publicized so that they can get some kind of help.
Yep.
And that the money just disappear through whatever bureaucracy. But we really like to have a time frame to disperse the money to the people that need the help.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I can tell you this, we do want guidelines to be in place, but we're going to leave it to some discretion on the chamber's part. We're not going to micromanage that by any means. So, but I'll get that information for you.
All right, so before we move on any further, Board Member Isukani, we haven't heard from you. Did you have anything to say? Nope. Okay, so I'm going to yield my time to Board Member Fitzsimmons on this one critical question that I want to hear.
Sorry, thank you so much. I want to revisit this, the claim stuff, because in 2023, a little bit over 90% of all claims submitted to HECO were denied.
Yep.
Right, and I'm assuming HECO did a cause and origin analysis for all those claims, right? Did the expert that HECO used in 2023, is that the same expert that HECO is using now to determine the cause and origin of the outages?
So not all outages require the type of expert that was hired to do this investigation. This was a very unusual and complicated scenario. I mean, it's very unusual. I can't think of another time where we had this duration of an outage without like a major storm. So we brought in a specialized expert to do that. Most claims that come in are pretty straightforward and simple. So there might be an outage related to like a downed pole or like a power line that comes into contact with a tree or something like that. And we don't need that type of expert opinion. We can figure it out. If a drunk driver hits a pole and the pole goes down, we don't need an expert to tell us about that. So I think, as I mentioned last time, the vast majority of the claims for outages that we get are related to things that are black and white. We know whether or not it was us or some third party that caused the outage. So we don't always hire an expert.
Well, who's paying for the expert?
We do.
You guys are paying for your own expert to determine the cause and origin of the liabilities that you guys are going to pay out?
Yes, it gets submitted to the PUC for their review, right? So ultimately they have to review it. If they don't agree with our liability analysis, the claims process is always subject to appeal. So like if we deny a claim, that can be appealed directly to the PUC and they'll determine whether or not they agree with us.
Why is that not a conflict of interest?
What's the conflict?
You guys are hiring your own expert to determine whether or not you guys are negligent in the maintenance of the grid that went out.
That's the process in place. The PUC doesn't hire an expert. That's our regulators, but they do see the expert report. So they have the full authority to say, like, if we don't agree with this, they can direct us to do something. If they think that it was biased in any way or incomplete, they could always come back to us and tell us to follow up or do something differently. That happens all the time. The regulator has the full authority to do that if they want to do that.
All right, I'm going to cut it out. All right, thank you very much. We will have one final person. Board Member McCarney. Go ahead, Board Member McCarney. This will be the last, and then I'll thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for coming today. And I'm sorry if this is in your materials, but one of the things that I think I understand is nearly 100% of the ratepayers in the district were impacted by the outage. And I'm curious on the percentage of people who submitted claims out of that ratepayer base, just to get an understanding of if there's people that haven't been reached or if there's been a pretty good outreach to them and that they have had the opportunity then to file a claim.
Yes, I mean, I don't know what the percentage is, what the 410, what percentage of total customers that is. But we did have a robust communication and outreach program once we had those outages. It started almost immediately. We started contacting, especially commercial customers. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but
Well,
I don't have the specific
I
numbers.
think you probably, okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I think you probably know how many ratepayers you have in the affected district.
Yes, we do.
So then you take how many submitted claims, and that becomes the percentage of ratepayers that submitted claims.
Yeah, no, I could do the math. I just don't have the numbers.
Oh, okay. I'm
so-
curious. It's a lot different if it's 25% than if it's 80%. You know what I
No,
mean?
it's much smaller than that. We only had 410 total claims, and I know that's not 25% of the total number of customers that were impacted by the June 17th outage.
Okay, and you don't think that that's a matter of outreach? You think that's a matter of they weren't harmed?
I can't speak whether or not they were harmed or not, but I can say what we did with respect to outreach.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Board Member McCarney. Thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate you coming down here again. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. So, yeah. So, question: the board does want to know if you'll do another follow-up next month. One more.
Yeah, I don't know if it's me. I might be traveling next month for my daughter in college. She has a soccer
Okay.
season that's starting, but I will try. And if not me, it will be somebody.
You have a representative?
Yes.
Okay,
If I'm
just
free,
like-
I will attend.
Just like I had emailed you, if you couldn't make it, just at least have a representative. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right?
Will do.
Thank you very much for everything. We do appreciate it. Thank you. All right. I want to thank Hawaiian Electric very much for coming down. Appreciate it. Next up, we have item 4, number 2, upcoming Chinatown events by Leonard Camp. So this is something that we usually do every single year. We know the routine on these. Go ahead, Leonard.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm representing Chinatown 808 as well as the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. I'll address each of the events as we go down. The first one is the Mid-Autumn Festival, which will be on Saturday, September 14th, from about 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the Chinatown Cultural Plaza. We will not be affecting any street closures or anything like that. It's going to be self-contained in the Cultural Plaza. We'll have entertainment, food and craft booths, as well as a lantern parade. So we'll walk around the river. So we'll utilize Sun Yat-sen Mall as well as College Walk in that area. And that'll be about 6:30 in the evening for that event. We'll have some lantern making for kids, as well as purchases if people want to do that too, so that they can prepare for that. We'll also have the Stargazers telescopes there. So if you want an up close view of the moon, you're able to view it through the telescope, as well as the Rohan Band will be performing as well. So we have lots of activities planned for the day. That's sponsored by the Chinatown 808 organization. Did you want me to stop for questions for any of those or just go through all?
We know all these events, so then we'll go ahead.
All right. The second Chinatown Open House on Friday, January 24th, 2025. So Chinese New Year is January 29th. And so we usually do it the weekend before. So this is the event where the Lions go throughout Chinatown, visit businesses and organizations throughout the Chinatown area, even encroaching into a little bit of the arts area. Whoever wants to take part in that is able to participate. So we have about maybe 9 Lion groups that traverse through the streets of Chinatown, starting about 6 o'clock, ending about 9. And that will be on Friday, January 24th. Now, at the same time, in the Cultural Plaza, there will be an event, our traditional Chinese New Year celebration. So that'll be in the Cultural Plaza both on Friday and Saturday, the 25th. That's sponsored by the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. So that Friday event does include street closures, and we work with the DTS and coordinate all of that with HPD as well. The next item, Chinatown Night in Chinatown Festival, is on it's actually supposed to be Saturday, January 25th. So the date was incorrectly printed in the agenda. We are in the process of renaming it to just the Chinatown Festival and Parade. So that is sponsored by the Chinatown 808 organization with our title sponsor as American Savings Bank. So that includes the closure of the street between Ala Street and Mauna Kea Street along North Beretania. We also will utilize Ala Park and that will be all the street closures that we'll have there for that event. So that will be food booths, craft booths, entertainment. We'll have 3 stages for entertainment, Keiki Fun Zone in the Ala Park as well. That'll run from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., but street closures start a little before then. The last event, the Chinatown Parade and Parade, which will take place on January 25th, 4:30 p.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. We'll start at the State Capitol along Richard Street, run along Hotel Street, start to disperse after we pass Mauna Kea Street. And so that is our annual parade that we run the route. A lot of dignitaries, I think you folks had participated in that parade in the past as well. So you're also invited to participate again this coming year. That is sponsored by the Chinatown 808 organization, and our title sponsor is American Savings Bank.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Cameron. Appreciate it. All right, do we have anyone in the audience who has any questions for Mr. Cameron? Not seeing none. Anyone online who is not a board member who has any questions for Mr. Cameron? Not seeing none. At this point, we'll go to the board members. Board members, you'll be timed 1 minute. Anything over 1 minute, I'm going to cut it off and we're going to move on to the next person. We have 1 minute time limit on this one. We'll start off with Mr. McDonald, Board Member McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. My question is, as a former business owner in the downtown Chinatown area, I know our businesses depend a lot and we love to see these kinds of any kind of festival and kind of exciting thing happening down here. I am noticing on this agenda that I don't see anything for St. Patrick's Day or Cinco de Mayo or
I'm going to
Mardi Gras?
interrupt. I'm going to interrupt that right now. These are the events that they put on. Cinco de Mayo is put on by another
this
person. Yeah, this is
I
own.
misunderstood.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right. I withdraw the question. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, next we go to Board Member Shulan Schubert Kwok. 1 minute, please, ma'am.
Chair. Chair, I think we know these programs very well and we really support the Chinatown Chamber and also the Chinatown 808 for these activities. Takes a lot of work. So I'd like the board to ask the board to support all of these 4 items. And
Okay, so before I do that, I'm going to go to Board Member Kevin Lai, who's had his hand up, okay?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Kim, just 2 questions. First, can you clarify again the edit that was necessary for, I believe it was the 3rd item? It was a change in day or date.
The date is for Saturday, January 25th.
So the night in Chinatown Festival and Parade, both on the same day.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Secondly, can you clarify for us that if there will be any alcohol sales for any of these events?
None. We never do.
Thank you very much.
And by the way, we will be engaging with the Hawaii Bicycling League again. Last year, it worked out really well that to partner with them to encourage people to bicycle into the event.
All right, thank you. All right, so the question has been called and we do know these. Shulan Schubert Kwok has motioned that we go ahead and take a vote on all 4 of these, and I agree. So is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Discussions, please. Go ahead, Board Member Lai.
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify that the motion will read something akin to the Neighborhood Board 13 supports each of the 4 items as listed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any objections? Hearing no objections, it passes.
Thank you very much.
All right, next, we're going to go ahead and hit up item 4. Number 3, request for temporary road closures for CYD Children Youth Day on Sunday, October 6, 2024. Alan Silva from CYD Planning Committee, are you here? Is CYD Planning Commission, anyone here for them? Alan Silva? All right, online? Is Alan Silva online? All right, hearing none, seeing none. We're going to go ahead and move on next to Out of the Darkness. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so this is the one that Senator Chan Oakland does
Okay, so-
every year for children.
Yeah. So I understand it came from Shulan, from Ms. Oakland, former Senator Oakland. We never discussed this. This was resent back to them earlier in the week, and they knew about it. And he did send me a message saying that he got it and he would be here. So they're not here. I'm going to move on because there's no one here for them to speak on that, and none of us will be speaking on that. See, they're the only one that can speak on it. Next, we're going to move on to Out of the Darkness Walk, September 14th, 2024. AFSP presenter is Kat Logan. Thank you, Kat, for coming.
Aloha, my name is Kat Langan. I am this year's walk chair for the LANGAN, for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention Hawaii chapter. The AFSP Hawaii chapter has held the Out of the Darkness Walk annually since 2014, with a few unofficial but supported by AFSP walks on the neighbor islands that have raised money for our state chapter as well. This year, we will be holding the event once again on the Frank F. Fossey Civic Grounds around the Sky Gate sculpture. The need for suicide awareness and support in Hawaii is more crucial than ever. According to the Hawaii State Department of Health Office Health Status Monitoring from 2018 to 2021, suicide was the first leading cause of fatal injury death for people in Hawaii ages 15 to 29 and 30 to 44. Over 7 times as many people died by suicide than in alcohol-related motor vehicle accidents in our state. The Out of the Darkness Walk is a community-driven event that aims to raise awareness about suicide prevention, honor loved ones lost to suicide, and support survivors. Our hope is that by walking together, we will reduce the stigma and keep other ohana from experiencing a suicide loss. Our aim to provide vital resources that can help save lives and bring hope to those affected by suicide is brought forward by this walk. Check-in will begin at 8 a.m. and the program will start at 9 a.m. The walk will officially begin around 9:35 a.m. and the event will end at 11 a.m. Our MC, Jelaine Shelton, will begin the program with a blessing by Kahu Cordell Kekoa. We hope to have Governor Josh Green and Mayor Rick Blangiardi there to present the proclamation of the month of September to be Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. Following that is the Honor Bead ceremony, a powerful visual part of the program which gives participants an opportunity to see those with similar struggles while also instilling hope. We will then have a short musical performance and a stretch session before the walk begins. The walk is a 1.2-mile walk down King Street, past Iolani Palace, up Richard Street, past the state capitol on Beretania Street, then back to the Frank F. Fossey Civic Grounds. The walk will also include a resource tent with many local organizations and agencies that are aligned with mental health, a remembrance wall where attendees can post photos and write about their loved ones who died by suicide, and an activities tent with activities like Shred Your Worries Away and Remembrance Origami Folding. Due to the way walkers are staggered by teams and walk in ones or twos, we will not be closing any road lanes for this walk. There will be no concessions sold there, but we have a potential snack and water donation from Longstrugs. This year, we expect around 450 in-person participants at the walk, but are aiming for at least 1,000 online registered participants. People are welcome to register for the walk regardless of their location and are encouraged to walk the 1.2 miles with us on September 14, wherever they may be in the world. The Out of the Darkness Walk's goal is to raise awareness about suicide prevention, honor loved ones lost to suicide, and support survivors. There is no fee to register, but fundraising is encouraged. If you know any survivors of suicide loss, survivors of suicide, or anyone who may be struggling, please share the Out of the Darkness Walk with them so they know that they are not alone in their struggles and grief. You can find this information about our event and register on our website, afsp.org/Hawaii. I am open to any questions about the upcoming event and also have flyers if you would like to share them in the community.
All right, thank you very much. So does anyone in our audience here have any questions for Ms. Langan? Nope, not seeing none. We'll go straight to online. Anyone online have any questions for Ms. Langan? Not seeing any, we'll go ahead and go to our board members. Any board members? We'll go ahead and start off with Board Member Armstrong, please.
Thank you for coming. I can't be any more supportive than honoring what you're doing. And I ask that the board support this by acclamation.
Any other board members have any question? Not hearing none, not seeing none, I'll go ahead and finish this up. I've been to your event and I've really enjoyed it and I appreciate what you guys do. And I agree with Board Member Armstrong. Board Member Armstrong, are you going to make a motion?
Yes, I meant to say that and I forgot. I make a motion that this board supports the Out of Darkness walk on Saturday, September 14th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussions? Any objections? Not hearing no objections. It passes. We support you.
Mahalo.
Thank you, mahalo. And I'll see you again this year. All right. So I just want to clarify something. Once we put something on here, and if they don't show up, they don't show up. We cannot say anything about it because we do not know the full story. I've been in connection with Senator Chan, and I've been in contact with the person that was supposed to be here. And because he's not here, because Mr. Silver's not here, I have to move on. I cannot allow people to hear. All right? Okay, so next we're going to go to Hullabaloo 2024 on Saturday, October 26, 2024. We have a Rick Schneider, President and CEO of Events International Incorporation. Mr. Schneider, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Rick Schneider, the CEO and President of Events International. We are the largest full-service event company in the islands, and we've been in business for 37 years. We invented the block party in downtown. In the 80s, we did the Merchant Street block parties. In the 90s, we did Nu'uanu Nights. We did all the NFL Pro Bowl block parties in Waikiki, serving up to 70,000 people. All that being said, I'm here representing the promoters of Hullabaloo. We are not the promoters of Hullabaloo. We are just the service providers, and we provide the concession service. But we understand what's going on, and we've been asked to help them sort of fix things so that they can continue to do what they've been doing for more than 10 years. The event has been extremely popular. It seems that there's an overwhelming desire for us to do it again. We've been constantly asked, when is it happening again? And so we are hoping that the board will approve the fact that we want to do it again, and then we will go and negotiate with all the people that need to be negotiated with to make sure that the event can be produced in the right way.
All right. So do we have anyone in the audience who has anything to say on this matter? If so, please come up to the mic and introduce yourself clearly, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Minkos. I own Proof Social Club in Chinatown. And I just wanted to come down tonight and really express my support for Hullabaloo. It's a really great event that brings people down to our neighborhood who maybe wouldn't check it out normally. It's a great opportunity for families to come down. You can bring your kids. Halloween is a great family holiday. There's live music, all the costumes, all of that. And it's just it's really, really important for our neighborhood. It's important for the businesses down here to get those new people down here and see everything that the neighborhood has to offer. I'm in huge support of this event. I'm hoping the board will feel the same way. It was pretty terrible last year when we found out 2 weeks before that we weren't going to be able to have it. And I worry for the future of the neighborhood if we continue to not be able to have these block parties and these big events, because why would anybody want to come and open their business in a place that doesn't support them? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. Appreciate it. Next, we have Lee Stack.
Hello, Lee Stack. I'm speaking as a stakeholder in the neighborhood. And I guess my comment is I think it's a little premature to vote to support when you don't know the makeup of the event. I mean, he's saying, if you guys vote and support, then we'll go negotiate and talk to the city and this and that. But I really think it's more important to know what you're getting, what they're proposing to do, because it was, as I understand it, going to change last year. The city was promoting a beer garden and the Hullabaloo promoters didn't necessarily want to do that. So at this point, it's really unclear what the makeup of the event will be. I just think it's premature to ask for that kind of support.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. Do we have anyone else in the audience who wishes to address this? Not seeing anyone in the audience. Anyone online who wishes to address this besides any board members? All right. I'm not seeing anyone online. So first we'll head off. Lori McCartney, did you want to address this? Board member Lori McCartney, did you want to address this?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I had my hand up, but I will say that I appreciate the early notice about this, and I can understand the intention to want to get our general support before you go and start, talking to everybody. So I don't have a question.
Thank you. So next we're going to go, because Shalana asked me first, Shalana, and then we follow Robert Armstrong, then Mr. McDonald, and then Kevin Lai.
Well, thank you for coming in, Mr. Snyder. I know you for a long, long time. Dragon Boat Festival.
Okay, 1 minute before we go any further, board members, 1 minute to the question. 1 minute to the question. If it's after over a minute, I'll give you 10 seconds over a minute. Anything after that, I'm going to pull it and move to the next person. Thank you.
There's so many issues with this thing for 15 years. So now they want to change the rules. I'd like to know what really you're going to make it so different from the past, because the same people are behind it. They just hiring you to be the PR guy, right? And then also set some guidelines.
They didn't hire me.
Oh,
I'm here on my own volition.
I see.
And we have been servicing this event every year. So we've been involved. It's not like we've not been involved. There have been missteps, undoubtedly, but in general, most of the things that were promised and done were done correctly. And the issues were nowhere near as overwhelming as the positive effects of the event.
I just want to know what difference is going to be this year versus all the other years of excess and also misrepresentation to the public and the community that suffer.
You say misrepresentation to the public?
Yes.
What exactly are you talking about?
Charging people for wristband and then lying about it?
What happened was there was a miscommunication to the security team, and the security team didn't understand the rules. And I personally went out on the street when I found out about this, along with everybody that works with us, to correct the problem. Unfortunately, it happened later in the evening because the damage sort of had been done. But that was never the intent of the promoters. That was a miscommunication to the security. And I am advocating that security company does not work with us again.
Okay, so
Sorry, Chair. The other issue is underreporting the crowd. So therefore under providing security, bathroom, trash bins. So these are an after party problems.
I don't know where you're getting your information because
I
the
live
reports, but the reports that we get back from HPD.
I live here, I
and
know.
from DTS was that everything was done as we intended.
all right, thank you. I remember this is not a back and forth fight. Do not let no one make it a back and forth argument. Please, everyone, keep calm. And let's keep this level and let's move forward. Next up will be Bob Armstrong, as I said, followed by Kevin McDonald. I got 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome. And I have to applaud you to being 90 days out front That's more than enough time for the neighborhood to get used to the idea that this is a big day and we need to bring people back down to our neighborhood to celebrate. So congratulations for following a business model. And we expect, of course, as it's been already hinted at, professionalism, and I'm sure you'll deliver it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Board Member McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Steiner, for being here. It's no secret that I'm a big supporter of this event and all events similar to this. And I strongly agree with our friend from the community from Proof Social that our small businesses depend on events like this for success. I thank you for being here early, and I would just like to echo Board Member McCarney's remarks that I think we can have a vote today on a general approval, and if there are some detailed approvals that may need to be gone over as we move closer to the event, that's fine. So I'd like to, after Mr. Armstrong is, or after Mr. Lai has spoken, maybe move to call for a vote in support of this event.
All right. Thank you. And Kevin, and then you and Russ. Go ahead, Kevin, Board Member Lai.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I just feel as if the information tonight may have been better placed under a period of public concerns. And I mention that because our board has in the past recognized and understood that we should be dealing with and addressing folks who are the permit holders of these events so that we can ask them the hard and tough questions and know that if they don't provide good answers, or if after the fact they haven't complied with what they've said either to us or for the permits themselves, that there can be some degree of accountability. And Mr. Schneider, I'm glad that you're here. And because I know that the snafu last time with the late elimination of this event from our calendar, it was unfortunate. But I think that our board should handle this in the proper manner. I think that depending upon how such a motion will be worded, I just want to make sure that we're not overstepping at this point. As Member Armstrong has said, we're well ahead of the timeline. Perhaps there's another meeting that could happen next month wherein the organizer could come and give us the hard and final facts and details. I think that's probably how we should proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Russ, Board Member Rossi Scani, please.
Hey, thanks for being here. Big supporter of your event. Just want to let you know and just remind the public that this board did pass a resolution in May 2024, largely supporting community events like yours, like St. Patrick's Day, just for the benefits it brings to our small business owners, et cetera. It's really great. So thank you for what you do. Yes, I feel like I have enough information here to make a motion just to generally support in concert with our resolution. Motion to support in general, realizing that you're going to be working with city and state officials, and we hope they're going to be cooperative as well.
All right.
I second the motion.
Next, we're going to go to Board Member Sean Fitzsimmons, Vice Chair.
Thanks, Ross, for reminding everyone that we did ostensibly support community events like this in May with a vote. Also, I applaud you. I disagree that this is premature. You are doing your due diligence. You are ahead of the curve. I appreciate that. Given the complaints regarding the money collecting, which have been addressed by you by no longer employing that same security firm, that's fantastic. I don't think that one violation should disqualify Hullabaloo in forever because of that. And furthermore, I understand Ms. Schubert-Kwok's concern about security, but my understanding is that there is no crimes reported when Hullabaloo did take place. Rather, there are more crimes in downtown every weekend at HPD, pursuant to HPD's report. So I don't think the concerns are enough to warrant the disqualification of Hullabaloo, and I'm in support of Ross's motion to generally approve this event now. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to finish it up. Yep, and this is going to be it because then we're going to move on this time. All right. So in conclusion, so I received in the first minutes, first times within the first half an hour, over 100 phone calls of what was going on. People were being charged. I've received emails from people in Maili, in Nanakuli, in Waianae, stating that they will never come to this event ever again, that they were charged just to go down and walk because they want to sit down at their favorite restaurant. Okay? Listen, I'm a big supporter of all the big events, and I believe we need to bring people into Chinatown. But at the same time, we need to respect the people that live in our neighborhood. We need to respect our residents. I've got a lot of calls from residents prior to this meeting saying that they were not comfortable with this because of the way that things have happened before. There's a lot of mistrust going on right now. And the bottom line is, when I talked to Mark, he said that you would become a speaker. He never told me. I was under the assumption when we spoke that you're a part of the organizers, but you're not an organizer. You're not the organizer. We need the organizer to be here. He did the right thing by coming ahead of time. I do know that Mark will be speaking to the mayor on the 10th. If this board wants to just do a general support, they may. But this must come back up in September to get a full support of all details and all that. And we need the organizer himself to be here to answer questions. I support this event, and I still do support this event, but it must be one that's going to be for all the people. Then my next question and final question is, will you folks agree to take part of that proceeds and give it back to the community, to the businesses and the people that lost a lot of money during the blackouts? Because you said you support, you want to come into our neighborhood and throw your festival in our neighborhood, which we would like. But let's start giving back to our neighborhood, because our neighborhood sees nothing off of this. Some of the businesses do. A lot of businesses say they actually do not make money till you guys have to leave because the beer that's been sold outside, so no one's coming into the bars. A lot of the restaurants are not making money. So let's see. The ones that are making money are those that are not within the footprints, like maybe Nighthawk, which is on the outside, and all those that are outside of the footprint. So I think maybe, as everybody says, a general, we'll go ahead and do a motion for a general support, but that the organizer must be here next week. This is why I had asked Mark to do this early. This way it gives time. It's plenty of time, and I appreciate what he did by coming in early. So, Rossi Sakani or Mr. Armstrong?
Point of order, Chair. May I, with the author's permission, put the caveat that Mark, the organizer, will be here in 30 days at the next meeting?
Yes.
Does the author agree?
No, he should. Mark needs to be here.
Well,
He's the organizer.
you don't object? Yeah. All right, then.
So we need a motion. And please state out the motion, please.
Well, we need an update.
Go ahead. Mr. McDonald, Board Member McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to motion that the board give a general support to the idea of a Hullabaloo celebration.
And this will be contingent on Mark being here in September, correct?
Second, Mr. McDonald's.
With the addendum and to give us everything in full details. Okay. Do we have a second? Okay, we got a first and we got a second. All right, we're going to do a roll call on this one, please.
Point of order, Chair. Can we have some discussion?
Excuse me. No, we did we not just do a bunch of discussions? Do we want to have any discussions? That's why we do this first. Is there any discussions on this? Go ahead. Mr. Lai.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Schneider, can you give us an idea of what has happened so far as far as the organization of the event, and what will the impact of this motion now voiced and amended be?
At this point, there's as I understand it, preliminary planning's been done. I think there's been outreach to certain acts to see if they're available. But other than that, a lot was waiting to see what the neighborhood board would say before we went off on talking to all the city agencies.
Thank you. And a follow-up, if I may, within my minute, Mr. Chair. Thank you. And just to clarify, you are or will be involved as a subcontractor for this event. Is that correct?
Yes, we have been and will be.
Thank you.
All right, just for board members' information. Furthermore, once we start asking questions, that is our discussion. This is why we're talking, because we're not going to ask questions, then have to come back to do a discussion because it makes no sense. It's like doing double time. So this is how I had it, and this is how it used to be. So if that's the case, we'll always have discussions at that point. Instead of board members asking questions, we go board member discussions from this point on. Okay, go ahead. Board member Armstrong, did you have a question? Board member, McCarney, please.
Thank you, Chair. I know that the Department of Transportation Services has a misunderstanding that we do not want events in our community. That was something that was passed many years ago. And I believe that our approval of a general approval of this event will help in the discussions with DTS and help them look for ways and work with the organizers in how to make it work for the community and how to make it successful for the organizers and the promoters.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other discussions on this? Okay, so just so you know, at this point, we're going to go ahead and take a vote. But before we vote, I do have to say something, and this will be the final, yeah? That this is just a vote in general. This is not a full support until we see Mark in September. I have some questions that need to be asked and have a lot of residents that have concerns. I'm going to be talking to them because there's a lot of residents that are right now not in favor of this, and I need to support our residents, yeah? And how the residents go is how I'm going to go, all right? Thank you. Roll call, please.
So just to restate the motion, it's the board to give general support for the Hullabaloo event, with the organizer returning to the contingent to the organizer returning in September September 5th with the full details.
Sir, Mr. Lai, you want to fix that up?
I will let it ride.
We're going Vegas.
Okay. Armstrong,
Aye.
Fitzsimmons, Isokane.
Aye.
Lai,
Abstain.
McCarney,
Aye.
McDonald,
Aye.
Schubert Kwok, abstain.
She vote, yeah, she can vote aye with reservation.
Yes.
Yeah, people can.
Well,
Reservation. No, hold on. If both of you do not stop it, I'm going to give you a warning. Next time, after that, then I'm going to ask you to leave for the rest of the evening.
Okay. Continuing, Thompson, not here. Chair Carvalho.
So I am going to go ahead and abstain at this point until I hear from everyone else. I do support the events, but I want to know what's going on. So because I had a lot of calls today, bothering me at work, really. But they are not happy with this. So at this point, I'm going to abstain until I hear from Mark himself here. And then I'll make my full decision. But this is an event that I do support.
All right. 6 ayes, 0 no, 2 abstentions. The motion is adopted.
Motion has been adopted. Thank you very much. All right, thank you.
Point of order, Chair. Thank you, Chair. We've heard several times over the course of the meeting today that board members have 1 minute to make their questions to the people. Now, it's no secret, I think it should be longer than that, but I would like to point out that, or at least qualify, does that also apply to the chair? For your question that you asked the fellow that was just up here, I didn't start my timer until you had been asking for about 30 seconds. And it came to 1 minute and 55 seconds after I started my timer.
So Mr. McDonald, that is fine, and I respect it, and I will keep it under 1 minute. But let me tell you, the minute you go over 1 minute and 1 second, I will cut you off too, because I have let you go
Calm
over
down,
that longer.
Mr. Chair.
I have let you go on.
You just went over. How come I can't?
I've let you go longer than 1 minute. And I've listened to you. And so, I have given you lots of leeways. I've been fair with you. So And I've not stopped you when you've gone past a minute. Okay, so thank you. We're going to move. Yes, it's going to matter to me too. That's what I said. Yeah, but it didn't matter to you earlier when you were talking to Brandon from Hego. And I let you go because you went over that time limit, okay? And I did let you go. And I didn't say nothing. So respect that too. Thank you very much. No, we voted on it. It's a 1 minute time. Yeah, and you must too. Board Member Kevin Lai proved that you can ask 4 questions in 1 minute. Actually, it's 4 questions in 56 seconds. And that's what he did at one point. And we clocked it. So yes, you can. And this is the same, 1 minute is the same thing City Council uses too. So, all right. So let's go. We're moving on. Thank you. All right. Next, we're going to go to item 5. Public concerns, 2 minutes. Anyone in the public have any concerns up? If you do so, please come to the mic. Not hearing none, not seeing none. Anyone online in the public have any concerns? Not seeing none. We're going to go ahead and move on. Next, we have item number 6, approval of minutes. Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024, regular meeting, written summary for video record. Board Member Lai, you have any questions on this?
Oh, thank you, Chair. I'm not sure where things stand, if there's a formal motion to adopt the distributed minutes, but I do have a couple of recommended edits to such. I'm going to make them as a slate, and I think that the board in consideration should strongly consider adopting such. Some are technical in nature, some are of other types, but I'll go through them just very quickly. First, I think that the header for our meeting minutes should match that's used in our agenda. Secondly, I wish that we could include the Olelo link for the prior month's meeting in addition to that, which is the YouTube channel that's linked there on the first or second line of the current draft. It would strongly consider using Chair Pro Tempore, not capitalized, rather than Chair Pro Tem, which is more of a junior level use of the term. I'd recommend that all instances of downtown Chinatown employ an N dash rather than a hyphen. For the section of members present, people who are reading the minutes typically want to know who of our 9 members are present, and keeping them in alphabetical order regardless of the indicated time of arrival is appropriate. In the list of guests, there's one guest attendee name which is missing from the list, Seok Hui Ing. I spoke with this person earlier today to confirm that the person was present and should be added. I also would wonder if the 44 total attendees came from the list of online members who were there, and if we can develop a way to capture such. Regarding the Honolulu Police Department and the subsection questions, comments, and concerns followed. Per Neighbor Board Plan 2-14-113A5, I respectfully request that that section be amended as follows. Questions, comments, and concerns followed at the 4-minute mark. Lai demonstrated images of an unclad interloper from Kamali'i Mini Park with a specific URL demonstrating such, running in traffic on South Kukui Street, and requested enforcement of pertinent statutes chronically ignored within the area next to Central Fire Station. Again, that insertion is as per Neighborhood Plan 2-14-113A5. And then as we scroll down to the end of the draft, typically we've referred to the written summary of the video record rather than for video record, which is missing an article. If we could make that amendment in all instances. Under the announcements, if we could remove the colon that follows a preposition and perhaps use the following clause on the second paragraph of Section 7 announcements. A subset of video records of NB 13 meetings may be found on, and then the specific YouTube URL listed is that which is specific for Neighbor Board 13 rather than for all Neighbor Board records, which will help our constituents find our particular meetings. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Board Member Isukani, please.
Thank you, Chair. As the elected secretary, as a reminder, the video record is posted to the NCO YouTube channel. The draft written summary for video record was drafted by NCO. I did review it. It looked great to me. I'm making a recommendation that we approve the NCO draft.
Board Member Sean Fitzsimmons, please.
Just one addendum I want to make clear, because I've used these minutes and for other capacities. And I think it's important under subheading 4 presentation where HECO is discussed that we include that HECO promised to provide ongoing updates monthly until the claims were resolved from the blackout. So there's a written record of their obligation to our board to be open and transparent regarding the cause and origin of the outages, as well as the status of the claims submitted by our community. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to Armstrong, then to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I recognize our secretary is new at this, as well as our neighborhood assistant. But I think Board Member Lai makes a lot of valid points. Some of them are nitpicky, but some of them are very substantial. And so we've got to figure out how we're going to do this for the minutes. And until these parties get together, and I recognize somebody was elected, somebody was not. I recognize that. But until we do this for the benefit of our community, I think we need to put this off until next month so that these parties can talk and come to some sort of agreement so that we don't waste time each and every month going over some of these points.
Okay, Board Member Isakani, then we'll go to Board Member Fitzsimmons. Go ahead, Board Member Isakani.
If Bob made a motion to defer this to next month, I'd second that.
Well, I got a Board Member Fitzsimmons. Please go ahead.
As long as all right, we can second the motion, but I don't want to forget my comment because, it's like, 2 months from now. Yeah.
Respectfully, Sean, the minutes are the video record. So I understand what you're saying. So if legally you want to point to it, you can look to the video record. Just saying, you can do that.
I just think it's better if it's front and center and it's not on, you have to go find it, for not only my purposes, but for other people's purposes as well.
Yeah, so what originally was supposed to happen is the minutes are supposed to come out. We were supposed to be linked to what time and everything else on the written minutes, yeah, which the NCO hasn't done like they said they were going to do. All right, Board Member, I'm sure.
I think we'll waste so much time on this minutes thing, which is not so significant on minute changes because the facts didn't change, the dates didn't change, were not wrong. So I just think that is so much of this is wasting time.
Okay. All right, so I do have a problem with part of it when it says Chair Pro Tem. We've never used that term anyway, because the person coming in, regardless if he's not going to be, is still chair until the election is done. And if he's no longer chair, then we have a new chair. But so I've been looking over the minutes, and so I will agree to moving this if that's what you guys want to. So we have a motion made.
Just for clarification, you
For
mean moving
clarification.
to delay until next month? Yes, that is the motion that I move that we delay the approval of the July 2nd minutes until, or hopefully the various interested parties can discuss and come up with some sort of solutions. So that we can, and understanding that there are substantive as well as small changes that are necessary.
Okay.
Second.
All right, that's a second. We have a motion, and we already had our discussion, but I'll go ahead and let it. So I think you guys forgot, when I took over as chair, when we're talking like this, it's our discussion. So then after the motion, we can go straight to a vote, whether we like it or not, but it's like double discussion. And people are seeing it. We got audience right here saying it's like a double discussion. Why is it double discussion? But I'll allow this one. After this is never going to happen again like this.
Well, first, I think that there's a discussion before to determine what the motion will be. And then there's a second discussion after the motion is made to vote on the motion itself.
So, okay, and I understand what you're saying, but prior to tonight, the way I've ran it is that when we had this talk and all this was our discussion. We didn't have a double talk, and we're going to go back to that immediately after tonight. Go ahead.
Well, first, I'd like to say that it's important. The minutes are important. The minutes are the record of this meeting. And it's important that they both be punctually and grammatically accurate. Sorry for, I can't even do it myself, but they be grammatically and punctually accurate, as well as factual of the events that happen. So I think however painstaking the process may be, we take the time to make sure that they're entered correctly. I do also take a little exception with the chair as far as the voting goes. We do have discussion before to determine what the motion is. And then once the motion is made, then we discuss how we're going to vote on that motion. As always been done, and I think it's in the bylaws.
And so I'm going to counter that. No, that's not how it's been run since I have been the chair. And we have, and you want to talk to Dylan, we have changed that. So, but anyway, go ahead. Mr. Lai, you have anything to say?
Mr. Chair, thank you. A couple of issues. Number one, if we want to declare that we're operating as a small board and operate under small board rules, which we're eligible to do as we are less than or around 12 members, we can do that. But that doesn't mean that we can escape from, as Member McDonald said, basic tenets of Robert's Rules of Order. So the precedent that may be said here is there could be a 10 minutes of discussion. Someone makes a motion. It might not sit well. It might not be clear for all members of the board. And to say that there can be no further discussion on the motion once made, that is very dangerous territory. I caution you against that. We can discuss this offline. Secondly, as far as editing of the minutes, I appreciate that Mr. Isakani is our current secretary, and that's fine. But the issue of trying to revise or fine-tune the minutes beforehand, this has all been done. The process has been worked out for this ahead of time. I think there are some issues with the ability to identify and find, for example, the PDF versions of the minutes compared to what's in the plain text and the emails that might have been coming out. So those are other issues that need to be addressed. But making a document that is acceptable to all can be done and has been done in the past that is within the confines of Sunshine Law and the neighborhood plan. I'd be happy to work with our current secretary and our neighborhood assistant to do so as has been done in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
If the motion is unclear, don't vote for it. That seems pretty a short way to just cut off all the extra discussion.
Do we have any further discussions on this motion? None? Do we have any objections on this motion? Hearing none, it passes.
To defer. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, okay, then I'm good.
All right, thank you. All right, so next, we're going to go to elected officials. A, Congressman Ed Case, representative. Are you here? Not hearing him or seeing him, we'll move on. Governor Josh Green's representative, Stephen, has been waiting for a while. Thank you, Mr. Downs.
Thank you. I believe you had my report from last time. I didn't make the meeting, but I did. If there are any questions or concerns about the responses, I can take them now. And if you have any new questions, I'm happy to entertain them. I also wanted to say that my email address is on the agenda. And so feel free to email me anytime after the meeting if you think of something you didn't ask before. I can always follow up before the next meeting. So if I'll entertain questions if you have them.
All right, anyone in the audience with any questions for the governor's representative, Mr. Downs? Go ahead. Come on up. Say your name, please. The microphone.
Hi, my name is Chris Holleran. I live 1511 New Wanu Avenue, apartment 1220. And my question for the governor's representative piggybacks on Mr. Fitzsimmons' concerns with regard to who is investigating HECO. And what they say, there were 455 claims. That's a very small percentage. I'm no mathematician, but also we're asking them to police themselves. There must be an independent government agency that can monitor them while they do their investigation, because they can just deny because they know that no one has the resources to fight them, because they could fight everything till next year. So with that, thank you for letting me share. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience with question? All right, not seeing none, we'll go online. Anyone online, with the exception of any board member, has anything to say? All right, not hearing, seeing anyone online, we'll go ahead and move to board member Schubert Kwok, please.
Thank you for coming.
1 minute, please.
Yeah. Question I really have is that Chamber of Commerce went around and gave some forms out to people, and then they are given $20,000 for the purpose of, by KICO, for purpose of event promotion and educational programs of small businesses. It didn't address the lost claims or claims that will not be denied but won't be awarded either, right? For the claims against HECO. Because on Tariff Rule 16, they can absolve themselves on almost anything. So the $20,000 to Chamber of Commerce doesn't even have a chair or how the money is going to be used. And it seems like a way to just like give them the money and do PR work for them. It appears that way. So I'm not comfortable. So I would like the governor's office to take a look at what exactly is
Your
going to
time's
be
running
done
out.
by the $20,000.
And board member Armstrong, please, followed by board member Lai.
And Mr. Isakani's hand was up too. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make sure that I understand you correctly, Mr. Downs. We're to read last month's report as this month's report from the governor?
I know you can read, this is the last month's report. I was not here for the last month's meeting.
Right.
Because I believe we were on the agenda, at least that's what I was told. So, but I was able to, I can entertain questions.
You're always on the agenda, but in July, you're talking about we should look at July. I'm just trying to understand. We're to look at July's report?
I did not submit a report for July. I submitted one from the June question.
For June?
Yeah, so I didn't, so I submitted the questions for June for the July meeting for your review.
And this is the August meeting now.
Yes.
Wow, we need to get somebody at this governor's office to get up to date with us so that
That's why I'm here.
yeah, so that we can serve the public appropriately. It feels like this is an afterthought. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Next, we have board member Lai. Please.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Downs, can you tell us if or when the observation deck at Aloha Tower will be reopened for the public?
All right, Mr. Lai, is that it? That was it? All right, board member Isakani, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask a question. It's maybe right outside of our neighborhood, but the Koala Basin, last month, there was this really bad incident where some commercial diver just dropped an anchor in the reef, dragged it all up, really bad for the ecosystem. I know DLNR was investigating. I just wanted to know, I haven't seen any follow-up on that. Does the governor's office know anything? Because that was a really bad incident.
This was last month it happened?
Yeah, last month. There was an article in Civil Beat last month, Koala Basin.
All right, thank you. Do we have anyone else? Seeing none, hearing none. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. Next, we have up Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Ian. I believe he's online. Ian?
Yes, Chair. Hi, good evening again. Ian Santee, Deputy Director, Emergency Services Department. I apologize for being absent. We had a run of the mayor's town hall meetings that fell on the Thursdays, and I am back, and I intend to be in there in person very shortly, and I apologize for not being there in person tonight. I believe that the neighborhood rep was able to pass on some of the reports. For tonight's report, the highlights are from the mayor's newsletter. Again, they are continues to add treatment options for Oahu's chronically homeless. They remembered the Honolulu lifeguard Tamayo Perry. The new acting director of the Honolulu Ocean Safety Department was sworn in, and Waikiki comes together to unveil new trash cans designed to keep the trash off the beaches. The fire department has some mapping. So if you do want to have more details about incidences, you can search these incidences at responsemapping.com. The only question that I have that was brought up from last meeting was, I believe, was kind of answered early on with the HFD report, which was speaking to the Camille Mini Park homeless encampments. And Member Lai mentioned that HFD reported the meeting that they transferred the property, but it's still unclear of ownership. At this time, the property is still under the HFD's jurisdiction, as mentioned, and they are exactly sure at this point, they are not sure exactly who will be taking custodianship at this time. I encourage everybody to go online and look at the mayor's newsletter. And that is all I have to report from this meeting. So I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you, Ian. Anyone in our audience have any question for the mayor's representative? Hearing none, seeing none. Anyone online besides board members have anything to say to the mayor's representative? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go ahead and start off with board member Lai, please.
Chair, thank you. And Mr. Santee, thanks for joining. It's definitely been a while. I think it may have been April since we've had a chance to chat with you. And as I'm scrolling through, I just wanted to let you know that there have been some concerns raised amongst the community. But first, one that's been reiterated here several times has been about the traffic on Hotel Street. Again, whether this can be improved by signage or cleaning off some of the signs that have been covered in stickers. That might be something, again, that we'd like to pass along to DTS to hopefully help out. And also, there's some sidewalk issues identified here at 545 Queen Street. We know that the property that was the old First Hawaiian Bank has now been wrapped in fences, and I believe there are some cow holly that have been there in the back of that parking lot, or maybe they've been staged for the nearby place that's coming up. And if you comment on that, that would be great. And then let me just end by saying we had some questions from constituents who requested if there could be an investigation of possibly adding a speed hump to New Wanu Avenue at some point between Vineyard Boulevard and H1 Bridge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board Member Lai.
No, we're not done. I said time's up
okay.
for the speaker who went over a minute. All right.
Oh,
So,
no, I was just asking for the question.
We have member Sean Fitzsimmons, then member Bob Armstrong. Yeah, he usually responds out emails, but go ahead, please respond. If you're going to respond.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Chair, I wanted to just respond to the one question. If Member Lai can actually forward me the PowerPoint or this information, I can make sure I follow up on the DTS for the traffic. And as far as the old First Hawaiian Bank, I can let you know right this time, those call hollies are there. They are actually going to be staying there. It is a city project that is being initiated over there by the city, and they're working on a medical respite as well as call hollies being put over there. That's all I can comment on this time, but I can definitely provide you more information by the next meeting for you, Board Member Lai, as well as the rest of the board. And I'm available for further questions.
All right. Board Member Fitzsimmons, please.
Thank you. Just want to go back to the last page of Mayor's highlights regarding the rail. Projected by the end of 2023, it was projected that 10,000 people would be riding the rail every day. But that's not the case. Rail ridership has been in steady decline to the point where the taxpayers of the state are paying $72 per person, paying a $3 fare. Yet the mayor says that it was a successful year of interim service. Could you provide the definition of success with respect to Skyline? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. And again, I will not be able to provide that. I will get that back to you from the Department of Transportation.
Board Member Armstrong, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Santee, I had an incident that occurred yesterday that I really kind of shook me, and I need to share it with you because we have talked about CORE at length here, and I know there are some folks in our community who think we're overpaying for those services. But here is what happened. I happened to be on King Street yesterday between Queen Emma Street and the Poly Highway, major stop where tourists are and folks who are trying to go from point A to point B. And there were two individuals that appeared to be mentally ill. I called CORE, and it took them 25 minutes to come. By that time, the tourists were frightened and the residents were scared and left. There was literally no one at the bus stop but those two mentally ill people and myself watching it from Honda. And I was shocked that it took 25 minutes for somebody to come. And I had to text the mayor.
Mr. Armstrong, roll it on.
So what my question is, what are the response times for CORE? We have never heard them here, and I think it's time we address it. And
time's up.
As the final statement,
Time's up. We're
what
gonna
your
move on.
people did was
time's up. We're
shoot them
moving on.
away instead
Time
of
out.
dealing with their
Time is
concerns.
up. We're moving
But this
on.
is important. Instead of dealing with their concerns for the mentally ill in our neighborhood, they shoot them away.
Let me
And
tell
I
you
needed to say that.
Let
Thank
me
you.
tell something. I am following what his guidelines are. 1 minute. He says I gave him more than his 1 minute, but he wanted. Now we're going to stick to the 1 minute. Okay. So anyone else with a question for for Ian? Okay, go ahead. You have 1 minute. The question must be addressed to Ian. No one else. It's 1 minute. I'm going to do it like you said, Mr.
Thank you,
McDonald.
Chair. Ian, I just want to ask you for an update on the trash pickup because of the lack of trash vehicles.
We do understand there is a delay in that, and I will be happy to get you more further information. The best I can comment on right now is I do know throughout the city, we do have some delays, so I don't have any specifics that I can share with you at this point, but we will follow up for you by the next meeting.
Any other questions for Ian?
Chair, I do want to address, just real briefly, if it's okay with you, Mr. McDonald's question. Is that okay? I can.
Yeah, before I go to Mr. McDonald's, I am actually going to go to Mr. Isokane first, yeah?
Okay, that's fine.
Yep, thank you. Go ahead, Board Member Isokane.
Hey, Ian, I saw some positive news on the empty homes tax study. I think Department of Budget and Fiscal Services, 15 months after Director Guano announced that he was going to procure a study, that was just awarded $500,000 to Ernst & Young, I believe, to perform a study. I just wanted to ask, will that study, when will it be ready? And will that be available to the public? Because I would like to compare that to the two bills that were put up to City Council in 2020 and 2022. Haven't gone to vote. Thank you.
No, thank you for the question, and we will follow up for you by the next meeting to get you the information.
All right, thank you. Board Member McDonald, please. 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Santi, for being here. My question has to do with 4th of July. We did not have a fireworks display on 4th of July. I read somewhere that we're one of only 10 cities in the country that that's over 1 million people that did not have a fireworks display. The 4th of July is a big national holiday, and we have a fireworks display here every Friday night, every Friday. How do we not have a fireworks display on the nation's birthday?
I do not have an answer for you on that question, but I do understand that I can tell you that the fireworks display that happens on Friday nights is by a private institution. So we can definitely follow up and provide you further of why we've stopped those fireworks displays. Our first responders were busy on that night still, but we can definitely get you further information by the next meeting for that. And then, Chair, I do want to just briefly touch on Mr. Armstrong's concern that he raised so I can clarify some points, if that's okay, sir.
Okay, so your time, actually, you can go ahead and bring it up at the next board meeting. Your 5 minutes have turned into about 10 minutes. All right?
Okay,
Mr.
no
Yun?
problem. Thank you very much for your time.
So, Mr. Yun, one quick question. Please email me the information that I sent to you that you didn't address tonight. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll be moving on. Mr. McDonald, I'd like to say something that Kailua, Pearl Harbor, and Waikiki had fireworks displays for the 4th of July. We have not had any at Aloha Tower like we used to. There's not been any, but yeah. So what? The city Honolulu is Waikiki is in the city of Honolulu. They had one in Waikiki this year. Yeah, so my family went. They had one in Kailua and they had one in Pearl Harbor. But we used to have one here at Aloha Tower that we don't have. Okay, but we don't have. Okay, I'll believe you. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, okay. You're probably right. I'll go ahead and move on. Yep, I will stand corrected. Let's go on. All right. Next, we'll have City Council District Tyler DeSantos. Tyler, you have 5 minutes. That includes questions.
Hey guys. Oh, looking forward to having a nice, quiet discussion here. Appreciate you guys. It's good seeing you all in person. So a few updates for Ross first, actually, an empty homes bill was literally proposed today. It's Bill 45. So I'll connect with you about that offline because it's going to be heard at the full council meeting on August 7th. So that's next week, Wednesday. Yeah. So would love for you to testify on that and read through the bill. A few other things. So I've mentioned in the past that we're going to propose a resolution asking the administration to transfer Fort Street Mall from Parks and Recreation to DTS. We're going to propose that likely next week or 2 weeks from now. And after then, we'll bring them in, ask them the questions, and see if there are any ordinance changes that'll need to happen in order to get that process in motion. But from all of the stakeholder engagement and we've done and talking to other council members, it seems like everybody is generally in support of the concept. We also are mandated by state law now to actually take action on adaptive reuse, which was a big change from our battle last year, which didn't go so well. But I expect in the next couple months, we're really going to focus on putting forth more comprehensive legislation around adaptive reuse so we can start using these empty spaces and turn them into housing and also activate the downtown Chinatown area. Sort of in that vein, we've been meeting with a lot of the business leaders and stakeholders in the downtown area to see how we can improve a lot of the cleanliness, improve the safety, and potentially propose legislation in the near future around that as well. So I'm super excited about that. The last thing, I know we only got 5 minutes and we got a bunch of colorful questions coming up, but the primary urban center is the development plan is being heard, and that goes everywhere from Kahala to Pearl City. And it's going to ultimately determine how development changes throughout the next 20 years. So we have some hearings coming up for that. Ours in particular is in September, so I'd love to loop you guys in on that and get your thoughts on how our urban center is going to be changing in the near future. So thank you guys. Open to questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from anyone in our audience? All right, thank you, Ms. Stack.
Hello, this is the first I've heard that you guys are considering turning Fort Street Mall over from Parks to DTS. What kind of outreach was done and for how long? And because I've never even heard about it until now. And what's the reason for it?
I think the first discussion that we've had in this body and sort of interaction between the Chinatown board and our council was when Christine Camp came and presented. As you may know, she recently, her company bought the Walmart property and kind of the adjacent properties around it. And the primary goal behind it is to activate the area. Because we don't want it turning into a ghost town as soon as it hits 5 p.m. We don't want it to stay a ghost town over the weekend. We need to make sure that we have foot traffic so that we can increase the safety of the area and really just reinvigorate downtown in general.
Thank you. So I know we've been discussing this for a couple of months now. So yeah. So next we'll go ahead and go to Board Member Schubert Kwok, followed by Board Member Kevin Lai.
Thank you. I would just wanted an update on the public toilet initiative.
We have been talking to the administration about it. I think the last I remember is we talked to somebody from admin about it. I can't recall it right now, but I'll follow up with you on that. Let me make a note of it.
Done with that?
Yeah.
Okay, Board Member Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure how Ms. Stack can read my notes from where she's seated, but our thoughts are somewhat similar tonight. Richmond, in the potential translation rather, of 4th Street to DTS, right now 4th Street is technically considered a park. So with that transfer, would we lose then the ostensible protections against no smoking, no bicycles, no skateboarders, no sleeping? And would we expect to see a large number of palaces like we see on other DTS-related properties? I just wonder, will we have a thorough discussion of what could go wrong with this transition?
Absolutely. So in ordinance, there's currently a list of kind of all of the responsibilities for the department that holds jurisdiction over the area. So all of those things are up for discussion as we move it for public hearing.
And thank you. And I agreed with Kevin on that one. But I also know that right now they're smoking of regular cigarettes. They're smoking of crack. They're smoking of all these drugs. They're sleeping in that area right now. So,
Yeah, one of the things I've added is
we need to clean it up.
We've gotten this question pretty consistently of like, who's going to be taking care of, making sure it's hygienic, who's going to be cleaning it up, who's going to be, doing all this maintenance, who's going to hire the security, all of these things. And these are questions that we're going to be asking administration when it comes for hearing.
All right, Board Member McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. I have two questions. The first one, I do support actually the empty homes bill. I'm wondering if there's a provision in there though for empty businesses. About a third of our storefronts are currently vacant and we need small business to bolster our economy. There should be a provision in there for empty storefronts and businesses as well. My second question has to do with a question that's been asked many times before. About 4 months or so ago, the senator came out against our downtown block parties. He was clear and on tape coming out being against having these parties in our area. I believe you as a senator was not here the following month, why he would do that. And I asked him to explain that and ask him why he wouldn't support something that 90% of the constituency supports. And then our board member, Lori McCartney, pointed out last month why he would do that too. And she asked, and I seconded that why would he go against his constituencies and not support the block parties? And he apparently has ignored that question for a second time.
Is this Senator Rhodes?
Yes, Senator
I'm
Rhodes.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam,
Ah,
who is not
So let's move on.
would not
All
say
right,
that.
so we're moving on. We're moving on.
The other thing I said, the empty business thing is a great idea. I mean that's what ties into adaptive reuse. It's what ties into ultimately having mixed use, so that we can just activate this. I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
All right. All right. Is there any other board members?
Quick question.
Go ahead, Board Member Fitzsimmons.
Assuming that, 4th Street Mall that's transferred over to DTS is jurisdiction, how long would that transfer take?
I don't have the answer to that. That's an admin question because it's ultimately how they're going to delegate the responsibilities with their employees, there'll probably be a rulemaking process where they have to go to public hearing and make their admin rules and DPRs to appeal their admin rules. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is gonna take some time, but I don't know the exact time frame for that.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you very much. All right. At this point, we'll close discussion unless anyone else has anything to say. Thank you very much. You have a good day. Thank you. I'll see you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we're going to go ahead with State Senate Senator Carl Rose. Representative, are you here tonight? I don't think he is. All right, not seeing him. We're going to go ahead and we're going to be moving on next to State House District Scott Psyche. So Scott Psyche's report will be in the Google Drive tomorrow. Next, we're going to go up to State House District 28, Daniel Holt. Daniel Holt is a no-show tonight. So we're going to go ahead and move on. Next, we're going to go to monthly reports. And before we go to monthly reports, so I just want to clarify something for everyone. I've already been having discussion, and as everyone knows, the agenda belongs to the chair. So monthly reports, and I've already talked to a couple of people. So far, I haven't got to everyone on the monthly reports, and they all like the idea. We're going to move monthly reports to quarterly reports. because there's a lot of things that do not have to be coming every single month. They can come in quarterly. So starting next month, my agenda is going to reflect quarterly reports instead of monthly reports. Yeah. So no, I have the agenda. The agenda is mine to make. It's going to be if someone feels that there's something that is very important for them to do and to state, then okay. So such as like we have your Citizens Patrol. Citizens Patrol is probably going to be broken down 1 month your patrol, 1 month the patrols of the Citizen Patrol in the morning that happens by the police department, and then the other month by the Masons who are starting their patrols. So we are not going to have one patrol. We're not going to put 9 different patrols on. Got to understand the neighborhood board did not recognize Citizens Patrol as the neighborhood board's one. Yeah, it was never done. It was never done at that time when Dolores had it. It was never something that the board recognized as part of the neighborhood board one. But if you have to do a report and you want to do a report, then let me know. But it's going to go to quarterly reports. The agenda is the chairs. Thank you. All right. Monthly reports. Honolulu Board of Water Supply. Iris.
Hi, hopefully I'm not going to get cut off.
Go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Accidentally posted my, okay, no, 3 minutes. So my information is on the chat by accident. So on Saturday, August 3rd, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., we have our annual Unthirsty Plant Sale at Halava Xeriscape Garden. That's at 99-1268 Eva Anna Street. So, so admission is free. You can park on Eva Anna Street, and there's a free shuttle to the garden. So the plant sale is a family-friendly event that will offer a variety of xeric plants by local vendors, a team of plant doctors from UH Master Gardener program with plant care advice and information. There'll be educational booths, including rain barrel catchment information, free soil conditioner, and a Cactus and Succulent Society of Hawaii display of award-winning cacti and succulents. So go to boardofwatersupply.com for more information. That's my report for tonight.
Anyone in the audience have any questions for Iris from Board of Water Supply? Seeing none, we'll go ahead online. Anyone online besides board members? Seeing none, we'll go ahead. Board member live, please.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Oda, briefly, I do appreciate the information that was relayed to NCO and then relayed to the board members about the request for water conservation in light of the potential HECO rolling outages. Again, appreciate that very much. And I wonder how much of the impact of the outages, how would that impact water services? Is the function of BWS just downstream, so to speak, of the electrical supply, or do you have independent means to work if there are water outages? And if there's a power outage, how soon would there be a decrement in service? Thank you.
I wouldn't know exactly how soon, but our pumps require electricity. That's why we prepare for water. Critical sources. So that's why electricity is important to us, but we do have backup. So if it's for a longer duration, I don't know offhand, but we do have an emergency plan also. So I'm not sure if, so we are, that's why we work closely with HECO and the other agencies, and they give us notice, and then we provide notice to you guys.
All right, thank you.
That's okay. Thanks.
All right, next we have any other board members? Board member Fitzsimmons, you have 1 minute.
Thanks for being here. Just revising my previous inquiry about the rates for water applied to businesses versus residences, and the fact that short-term vacation rentals are treated as residences by the Board of Water Supply and are billed as such. Is there any movement into changing that designation?
I had a response a couple months ago, and I don't have the words verbatim, but it's when we do revisit the rates again, rate study again, which is every 5 years, they're going to look at that, and that was a good suggestion. But it's a comprehensive report and study and things that go into this rate study. So they will consider that. So
All right, thank you.
thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and any other board members? Not hearing none, not seeing none. Thank you, Iris. I do appreciate it. You have a good day. See you next month, and I'll get a hold of you guys, yeah, because we need to discuss
Yeah.
some things. Thank you.
About
Next,
quarterly. Thank you.
you're welcome. Next, we have Greg Payton, Mauna Kea Villages, please.
What about me?
I hope you can hear me all okay. My name is Greg Payton. Thank you, Chair and board members.
Hold on,
I
hold on,
serve
hold
as-
on, hold on. Let me do this real quick. Hawaii Department of Transportation. Blaine Kawamura, please. Not seeing him, not hearing him. We'll go ahead now. We'll go ahead and move on to you, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My name is Greg Payton. I serve as CEO for Mental Health Kakua. Our program, Safe Haven, now called Mauna Kea Villages, is a permanent supported housing location where we have 33 formerly homeless residents in permanent supported housing. Since January of this year, 2024, between Mauna Kea Village, our Punuai Rest Up, and our case management program, we've housed a total of 50 homeless adults, and more than 90% of them have remained housed. I wanted to add that our hygiene center in Eva Lay, we have 3 case managers who served more than 200 homeless adults in July. And we have 65 people signed up for benefits with the Department of Human Services, and 7 homeless adults were housed. We're going to go to quarterly reports in the future. Look forward to talking to you more about that the next time we see you in a couple of months. And that's my report, and I can answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you. Anyone in the audience have anything for Greg? Not seeing none, not hearing none. Anyone online have anything for Greg Payton? Not hearing none, seeing none. Anyone online, not online, but any board member has anything to say? Board member Lai, please.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Chair. Dr. Payton, I know that we were switching to quarterly reports for you, at least recently. But for our technicals, should we refer to you when you are up as Mauna Kea Village or Villages? And then secondly, of the folks who have been shifted into longer term housing, can you let us know how many of those folks that you may know of are still in said housing? Thank you.
Yes, the people that of the 33 people who moved there, 90% is actually a little more than that have remained housed. That's really because of the 24-hour support that we have in the facility.
All right, thank you. Anyone else with any questions? Not hearing none. Thank you, Greg. And Greg, as we have discussed, I know you're not supposed to come up for a couple of months, but if that comes through, let me know so I can put you on for September, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll go ahead and move to Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation. Before we even go there, I'm going to say something real quick. Mr. Cho is no longer with us. Yeah, Harry Cho is no longer working for HART. He did send me an email that said he wouldn't be there and that he would advise that the person that's for HART would reach out to me. No one from HART has reached out to me. And until someone from HART reaches out to me about who the person is replacing them, we're going to skip this one and we're going to go on to the next one. He's not a representative for HART. I want the HART representative. Mr. Cho was our representative. Mr. Cho said that they would reach out, and I've sent them a letter, and they did not return. Mr. Cho said that the HART representative would personally reach out. They have not done that. They need to do that. So I know who is the representative of HART. Mr.
Point of order.
Patrick is not the HART representative, yeah? He is not. Go ahead.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. I get exactly what you said, and I understand where you're going in that last sentence. But I just want to say I'll miss Harry, and I hope that he's doing well because he did a good job in trying to communicate to us on a monthly basis. He was always here. the good and the bad. And a public official like that needs to be complimented.
Okay, yeah, I do respect that. Now, if you guys want to hear Patrick, I'll allow it this one time. But if Park does not send me the representative, I will not allow them to continue to speak from this point on. Do you guys want to go through with Patrick? No? Patrick, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. That's it. Because
I appreciate that, Chair.
not have the representative here.
I will notify them of your desire as well. So thank you, folks. Patrick Watson with Honua Consulting on behalf of Frank V. Coluccio Construction to give you a brief update about the utility construction going on downtown. So outside of the typical daytime work that has been going on along Nimitz, we are planning to have some night work take place next Monday evening. This work is going to be at the Alakia Street intersection. It will continue for approximately 2 to 3 weeks between the hours of 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. In addition, on August 12th, they will continue doing some night work at the intersection of Bishop and Nimitz. And we are currently reaching out to all the stakeholders to make sure they're all aware of this work in that immediate area. So we've been communicating with Aloha Tower Management, Department of Transportation Harbors, Pacific Guardian Center, Harbor Square, and the people immediately affected by this work. So I just wanted to let you folks know that that is coming. And all of this will be posted on our weekly e-blast like we always do. So I posted that information in the chat. So please, if you haven't already, sign up for our Coluccio weekly e-blast. Comes out every Friday. And that is the end of my report for today. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to make a clarification real quick, if you guys don't mind. Mr. Lai, I'd like to make a clarification because technically he's not Hart, right? He's a contractor from Hart. This agenda states Hart, right? Are we allowed to ask him any questions, or would that be in violation of the sunshine law?
Mr. Chair, thank you for posing the question. We can ask questions of the guest. We cannot make a motion or vote on any action that arises from the discussion.
I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, Board Member Lai. All right, Board Member Fitzsimmons, go ahead.
Thanks. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate you being here. You know, I just moved to Harbor Court. So, you know, the construction is really interesting to me, as well as the utilization of heavy machinery in the hours of the evening. Is there any like schedule to utilize if heavy machinery is necessary to use it before the hours of like 10 p.m. or is it just a free for all? You guys got to get the stuff done and you guys are going to use things whenever you guys are going to use them. Thanks.
All right, thank you for the question. And they are permitted to use this equipment at specific times. So the only reason why that would be changed is if there's enough community concerns that indicate that, you know, the hours are causing some problems to the residents of the area. And we field calls, you know, regularly about the steel plate noise and having to adjust that and correct that. So it's common to receive that type of information, but we simply just take the feedback and then determine with the project team what the next step should be.
It's three weeks, you said, or how long?
3 weeks at the Alakia Street intersection, starting August 5th, and then the following week they begin work at the Bishop Street intersection. So yeah, so the traffic will be affected going Mackay onto Aloha Tower Drive from Bishop. It'll be a one-way intersection in the evening. And again, there's a lot of things going on. HPU is having their orientation coming up. So we work with all these agencies and organizations to make sure that we're cooperating with them as well.
All right, thank you. Is there any other board members? All right, hearing none, thank you very much. And I'll reach out to Harry Cho to see what's going on because they were supposed to get hold of me. Thank you very much. All right, finally, we're going to move to item number 9. Item number 9. Oh yeah, we do have EFC. Chinatown Improvement District. None, not tonight. All right, Chinatown Business Community Association.
Just very quickly, Chair, we are having a Hawaii Buddha Peace Festival on August 3rd, Saturday, 10 to 6. Everybody come down. There's food, there's entertainment, there's peace messages, and it's a wellness and healing festival. So come down and share and start healing and be nice for once. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone have any questions for Shulon Schubert Kwok from the audience? Anyone online? Any board members? Nope, not hearing none, not seeing none. We'll go ahead and move to Neighborhood Citizens Patrol. Kevin Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'll start by just asking with the staggered quarterly or the quarterly reports, will they be staggered or do you anticipate that once a quarter we'll have a monster meeting with a lot of quarterly reports? I just wonder about that. Not that there's any opposition here as neighborhood citizen patrol. What I want to do tonight is just take a minute to relay a brief story that we've encountered. And I just queried Member Armstrong to see if there was some overlap in this story with what he was describing to Mr. Santee earlier. But there are members of our community that need help. And the Citizen Patrol, we do identify and see these folks. One in particular has been discussed here at this board several times. He has a condition that causes him to bray loudly as he circulates amongst the concrete corridors of the downtown part of our city. But a few weeks ago, he was in a state where he was being very dangerous, both to himself and to members of the public, and to bus drivers, and to civilian cars who were driving on Hotel Street as well. Ultimately, we did contact CORE program late in the afternoon. However, CORE program was making a delivery to the hospital and could not come to help us before they went off duty at 6 p.m. So we contacted HPD. And after a while, HPD was able to help us locate the gentleman as he was constantly traversing through the town, weaving in and out of traffic on the streets, totally disregarding, signs, sidewalks, stoplights, anything such as that. When HPD caught up with the gentleman, he told them that the date was the 1st of July of the year 1000. So it was very clear that he was not in a good state of mind. Ultimately, the HPD rightfully called for an MH1, a mental health evaluation of the gentleman, and we were glad for that. However, he was back out the streets before or by the next day. I tell the story because we do have a lot of folks who need help, and we need to allocate the resources that can best treat them in the best fashion. And I really hope that we can work more with the CORE program and Mr. Santee and get statistics that we need and help that to direct funding that could help them to extend their hours to help them find the folks that need help. I'll wrap up by saying that the Neighborhood Citizen Patrol will continue to meet on the second Tuesday of each month, departing at 7 p.m. from the lobby area of the Diamond Head Tower of Kukui Plaza. The next few months will be self-hosted, and we will continue to collect pictures and photographs from folks who patrol, and we'll make sure that the public officials know the things that we're seeing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Next is the chair's report, and this is only going to be very brief. This is just discussion on whether whether I should have a parliamentarian. Parliamentarian is an appointed position by the chair if he decides to do so. So if we want to have an open discussion, then we can. If not, we have pros and cons. If not, then we can move forward. I guess I gave one of the best examples of why to have a parliamentarian when I went to Kevin Lai and asked for his opinion. So that saying, let's move forward. Go ahead, anyone? Go ahead, Sean Fitzsimmons.
I say no. Our meetings are clunky. Sometimes they can get clunky, and whether or not we, thread the needle with every single intricacy of the Roberts Rules of Order is less important than getting through the agenda and making, making changes or addressing issues that are pertinent to the community. The form shouldn't be over the function. Thanks.
So next, we're going to go with Robert Armstrong, then Rusty Scotty. Robert Armstrong, Kevin McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think this is a fundamental difference of who is on this board. because I find getting through the agenda to be less important than the substance of those items on the agenda. And I would ask, well, that's not what you just said, but
Yeah, so let's, yeah, Sean. Yeah, okay, Sean, let Robert go ahead and say what he needs to say. Let Bob Armstrong go ahead and say what he needs to say.
for the public, Sean is in agreement of my comments. I heard you. Didn't you just say that? Yeah.
So Mr. Bob Armstrong, go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
I would like to ask the chair to keep in mind as we clunkily move through our agenda and our meetings and our personalities, that there's a couple things I think we all can agree are important. And with that, think about your agenda. And that is, it is our public safety, which includes, of course, police, but is homelessness, which comes up on almost all of these issues, and housing, of course, the utilities, particularly at this point, and that includes rail, and those, I think, almost take precedent, safety and utilities and stuff, over almost all of our discussions. It's wonderful to support the festivals and give them 10 minutes. But when our legislators are talking about, homelessness and addressing that, and they only get 5 minutes, there's something a little off. And I'm just asking the chair to consider.
Yeah, and I'll definitely consider what you said. And we discussed something off, which I talked with Greg about, and I think you'll be happy. But I respect that. But now let's skip this to the parliamentarian. Go ahead, Mr. McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair. No surprise, I disagree. I am in strong support of a parliamentarian. I employed one when I served as chair. And to address Mr. Fitzsimmons' comments, I don't believe that it's form over function. I believe that form should support the function. And so by having a parliamentarian, we ensure that everyone is treated fairly, that everyone follows the rules and regulations and guidelines that we have, that we use, that are given to us to support how these meetings are supposed to run and the rules and guidelines that govern us. And a parliamentarian, I think somebody with a strong knowledge of how those things work and what our procedures are and the guidelines that govern us. I think somebody who's there to support that will give us form supporting our function instead of form over function.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
May I respond?
Go ahead.
I understand.
Go ahead.
Understand.
Board Member Fitzsimmons.
But
Make
in
it-
practice, the use of the Roberts Rules of Order in the context of in our meetings have been used to basically as power checks to one another, to silence each other on the board. The way they've been used isn't to advance the function of the board. Rather, the way these rules have been used is to nitpick at one another. So I don't think and you guys have done it. You guys have been on the board longer than me, and I came to the board and it was dysfunctional because of this issue. Right. Remember when I first joined the board, I was the chair because no one could agree on things. There's so much infighting. Right. And it's partly due to this nitpicking that occurs through this parliamentarian realm of like Robert's Rules of Order, nitpicking on one another. And I don't think it's valuable. I really don't.
I respond now?
Yeah, okay, so you may respond, but I like everybody to make this quick, so.
Sure, of course. Thank you, Chair, and thank you again for your concerns there, Member Fitzsimmons. I agree that there was nitpicking. It was a huge challenge for me as chair, and it has been moving forward as well. But it is for that reason that I have the opposite opinion. The Roberts Rules and the other gives us the guidelines to eliminate that nitpickiness, to put an end to it, to snuff it out or nip it in the bud, so that we have rules and guidelines set forward to us that are there specifically for Those rules and guidelines are there specifically for the purpose of eliminating that nitpickiness and giving us the guidelines and rules that we need to move and to ensure that everyone gets treated fairly instead of a certain members of the board getting one over on the others or not. If we have guidelines that are given to us, then we can follow those guidelines and we have order and regulation.
I want it to be fair and discussion. Okay, so we've heard everybody. I just want to hear from one more. Kevin, did you want to say something? I didn't see you. I wasn't looking that way. I was looking this way. Next time, just let me know. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Everything old is new again. And, we've been through this before in the past. The fact of the matter is that our neighborhood plan, which we follow, states that if there are questions or things that aren't specifically addressed, yes, we do go to Robert's rules. What I think that we should help and rely on is institutional knowledge of those that have been on the board for a while and do know neighborhood plan backwards and forwards and do know about Robert's rules. The fact of the matter is this: if each of us as board members took the time to read this document and to become familiar with Robert's rules, we'd all know how these meetings should run. We would know when it's proper to speak up, when it's proper to call point of order, when it's proper to rebut. It's when things get out of hand that we may need someone to be able to corral things in. Even if there is a parliamentarian, such would only be called upon at the discretion of the chair, okay? Or if someone raised a specific point that needed something to be clarified. So if there is someone who is dispassionate, whose objective is to have things run fairly and smoothly and by gosh, quickly, that would be fantastic. I've had that role in the past as member McDonald State when he was chair. We even had parliamentary corner training sessions a couple of months. I would advocate that we even engaged some additional training to help our board. We have improved. I think that's true. But I applaud the chair for even having the consideration and acknowledging that he can make such an appointment and use it to his advantage when necessary. Thank you.
So go ahead.
Just one last point. You were the chair before I became the chair, right? And that was when the board was at its most dysfunctional. I submit. That's when, yeah, that's why no one could get elected. Afterwards, when I first joined. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man.
The
That's all
reason
I'm saying.
I was elected chair was
That's all I'm
because
saying, man.
we were, I get it, and I'm going to respond. The reason I was selected to be chair was because the board was dysfunctional before me. Did I help? Then maybe there's some question to that. Although you weren't on the board, I never saw you here when I was on the board. So I don't know how you can speak to how dysfunctional the board was while I was chair if you were never here.
Yeah. So,
But you commented on the dysfunction of the board while I was chair, but you weren't here when I was chair.
guys, I don't
So I
want
don't know how you could say it was
This is not what I
dysfunctional if you were
wanted to
never
turn
here.
into. I just wanted some pros and cons. So there's one person that I have to ask a question before I can make this decision. And I will have the decision I'll have the decision that I will have will be come out before anything else on the next meeting. But the person that I need to ask a question is to my neighborhood board assistant. So I had Dylan, who was strong and knew a lot. So I relied on Dylan. But my question was, do you feel that you're comfortable enough to be able to move us forward, that I can speak to you and ask you to make sure that the rules that we're following and that we're being fair and everything else? Do you feel that you can do that for me?
So I am still new and getting used to all of this. I know a lot of you know the neighborhood plan and sunshine law more than me. If there's a point where I don't know the answer to your question, I can definitely come back with an answer for you guys. It depends on the situation, of course, but yeah, I'll take in note of what you guys are commenting about.
Thank you for your honest opinion. As I said, the first order of business that would be taken up will be my decision. Yeah, I just want to hear a fair and honest opinion of what you guys all said. All right, everyone. Next, downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board number 13 regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, September 5th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Leo Klani Middle School and virtually via WebEx. It's also on YouTube. The rebroadcast of downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board number 13 meetings are scheduled on Olelo Channel 49 every third Thursdays at 9:00 p.m. as well as 9:00 a.m. on the fourth Saturdays of each month. An archive of the past meetings may be found on Olelo by searching on downtown Chinatown. This meeting is now adjourned at 8:36. Guys, have a good day. Thank you.